In a distant galaxy, Max Stellar faces an unexpected fate when he's chosen to marry the unattractive Princess Zelda, a union vital for cosmic peace. Amidst skepticism and political intrigue, they must navigate love, duty, and betrayal. Will they uphold their values or sacrifice everything for an alliance? What price will they pay for acceptance and happiness? If you dream of entering universes or planets where humans shine when they meet unknown races, subscribe, turn on notifications, and you will be happy every day with new wonderful sci-fi stories. Well, let's go. Max Stellar stood on the observation deck of the Starship Unity, his heart racing as the shimmering planet Zor 9 filled the viewport before him. The vibrant colors of the atmosphere glowed beneath the swirling luminescent clouds, promising untold discoveries and cultural riches. The sea of oranges, blues, and purples painted a picture that felt alive, pulsating with energy that whispered of secrets yet to be uncovered. Yet, despite the mesmerizing sight, a fleck of anxiety lurked in his chest, threatening to overshadow the excitement of the diplomatic mission ahead. Max was a tall young man with tousled dark hair and deep-set blue eyes that mirrored the vastness of space. His lean frame showed the signs of a life spent in rigorous training, a hopeful demeanor masking the vast unknown that lay ahead. As the ship descended smoothly through the atmosphere, he couldn't shake the snippets of his training that clamored for his attention, each word echoing through his mind like a persistent echo. Diplomacy, unity, sacrifice. Yet nothing prepared him for the news he was about to receive or the responsibilities that would soon be thrust upon him. As his feet touched the gleaming surface of Zor 9 for the first time, he was immediately confronted by a group of towering delegates, each adorned in radiant garb that reflected their high status. They moved with an elegant grace that seemed almost alien to him, their skin colors shifting subtly in the light, a mark of their emotional states. As they approached, his mind spun with questions. Were these the figures who would determine his future on this foreign land? What customs awaited him in their world? The head delegate, an imposing figure named Thaler, stood out among the crowd. Thaler had broad shoulders and a commanding presence, his deep-set amber eyes assessing Max with a grave expression that sent a chill down his spine. "You are to be wed to Princess Zelda," he declared, the words hitting Max like a meteorite, shattering the fragile hope he held for a simple diplomatic affair. Max's heart sank, each beat echoing the weight of the obligation pressing down on him. "But I've never even met her," he stammered, the confusion in his voice laced with a hint of desperation. Thaler nodded solemnly, his expression unwavering. "It's customary. The union of our worlds depends on this marriage." Max felt his face flush as the enormity of the situation settled in. How could a single marriage tie their civilizations together? What history had birthed this tradition? He struggled to grasp the implications. His mind raced with the fears of being pulled into a life he had never chosen. He braced himself for a fate that felt all too sudden, foreign, and confining. As the delegates escorted him toward the Grand Palace, Max felt small against the towering architecture around him. The palace loomed above, an intricate tapestry of gold and iridescent crystal, reflecting the sunlight in a kaleidoscope of colors that dazzled his senses. The structure was both beautiful and imposing, a testament to the power that resided within its walls. Inside, the air thrummed with unspoken tension, and Max caught a glimpse of royal guards, lithe figures clad in dazzling armor that shifted colors with the light, their stoic expressions betraying no emotion. They stood at attention, hands resting on ornate weapons that glinted with advanced technology he could barely comprehend. Max Stellar stood frozen at the altar, the weight of the ornate Zoran robes heavy on his shoulders. The crowd of opulent delegates, clad in jewel-toned garments that shimmered beneath the grand crystal chandeliers of the Hall of Unity, seemed to press in from all sides. Despite the overwhelming grandeur surrounding him, an oppressive sense of vulnerability enveloped him like a shroud. What if she hates me? What if I hate her? His mind raced with a rapid flurry of doubts while the air crackled with anticipation. Beside him, the High Priest of Zor knelt in a mesmerizing ceremonial posture, deep in the traditional rites that would bind him to the princess. An array of exotic flora adorned the altar, blooms from the distant realms of Zor 9, each symbolizing power, unity, and sacrifice. Yet all Max could think about was the impending unification with a woman he had never met, someone who was about to become his entire world. The fiery colors of her realm contrasted with his inner turmoil, echoing the stark contradictions that defined his life. Then came the moment of truth. The musical chime that signaled the lifting of the veil reverberated through the hall, capturing every gaze present. As the veil cascaded away, Max gasped, not from horror or shock, but from sheer wonder. Before him stood Princess Zelda. Her ethereal beauty shimmered like a star, leaving every breathless witness caught in spellbound silence. She possessed striking features: high cheekbones framed by luminous, flowing hair the color of moonlight, cascading around her shoulders like gentle waves. Her piercing azure eyes shimmered under the celestial lights, reflecting a depth that seemed to hold entire galaxies of thoughts and emotions within them. She wore an intricately designed gown that seemed woven from both silks and the very stardust of the universe, each movement bringing her regal presence to life in the echoing hall. But it wasn't just her beauty, it was the air of mystery that surrounded her, a silent allure that conveyed strength and vulnerability all at once, which ensnared Max's heart. In that electrifying second, the ground beneath their feet seemed to shift, and the anticipation enveloped them like the warm embrace of a dying star. Yet, before Max could form a coherent thought, a sudden interruption shattered the awe. An imposing figure, the emissary from Glor's Prime, burst through the audience with an air of ferocity. "Our alliance is a sham," the emissary roared, brandishing a scroll that unfurled like a serpent of doom. The ancient law it held was etched with runes that pulsed with dark energy. Gasps echoed throughout the grand hall, tension thickening like a storm cloud, sending chills racing down Max's spine. Zelda's expression morphed, transitioning from wonder to sheer uncertainty, mirroring Max's own internal turmoil. "What do you mean?" Max asked, his voice shaky yet desperate to reclaim control. He felt an urge to cut through the chaos, to legitimize the promise he was prepared to honor, compelled by some primal instinct to protect Zelda. The emissary, tall and menacing with features chiseled from obsidian, stepped forward, a glint of contempt in his eyes. "The ancient laws speak of unions forged solely for wealth and power. This union, Max Stellar, is a mere farce." The weight of the accusation hung in the air. Shadows shifted across the room, darkening the golden hues of pomp and festivity. Murmurs flowed through the delegates surrounding them like an ominous tide, many turning their backs on the duo as if already proclaiming the union a failure, a trap of cosmic folly. A wild array of fears beset Max. What had he gotten himself into? How could they face an entire syndicate of powerful families ready to tear apart the budding edges of their connection? As the noise crescendoed, uncertainty burgeoned within Max. But he faltered only for a moment. "We will make this work," he whispered to Zelda, his heart pounding fiercely against the constraints of the Zoran attire. He locked eyes with her, determined to ignite a flicker of hope and rebellion in their shared strength. For an instant, she shivered but then squared her shoulders as she absorbed his resolve. Zelda took a deep breath, the color of courage flushing her cheeks. "I refuse to let them dictate our fate," she replied, her voice steely, resonating with a sense of purpose that surged like the melody of a battle song. She lifted her chin defiantly, any hesitation melting away, revealing a queen of remarkable resolve. The glimpse of fiery spirit ignited Max's own previously struggling resolve and formed an unbreakable alliance forged in the flames of adversity. The ceremony continued, though it was no longer a simple matrimony. It morphed into a battleground, each ritual a declaration of their commitment in the face of turmoil. The crowd's murmurs transformed into hushed deliberations, the undercurrents of skepticism humming in the air surrounding them. A few spectators bore witness to the growing tension, eyes reflecting insecurity about this union painted murkily beneath the vibrant festivities. The rest of the ceremony felt surreal, like a cloaked masquerade where appearances were deceiving and truths lay hidden beneath layers of exuberance. The remains of the ceremony echoed with ancient words of binding, each syllable a promise to fight against destiny's cruel dictates. In a world governed by empires, the duality of their new path shone brighter than cosmic stars. After the tumultuous event concluded, Max drew Zelda away from the prying eyes of the court and into the sprawling gardens of the palace, where exotic flora thrived in unnatural beauty. The colors were vivid, the scents intoxicating, yet shadows loomed ominously, a constant reminder of the adversities they faced. "We need to figure out who is behind this," Zelda said, struggling to suppress the tremor in her voice. "There are forces at play, intent on tearing us apart." She turned her azure gaze upon him, a mixture of concern and fiery determination dancing in the depths of her eyes. Max nodded, his own heart drumming a war rhythm against his ribcage. "I've heard the whispers too. We need allies, someone who understands the intricacies of royal courts." He leaned against a luminescent plant, a fuchsia bloom glowing like an alien lantern, bringing them together in an otherworldly cocoon. "And let's not forget that emissary." He appeared out of nowhere, wielding that scroll like a weapon. As they discussed their strategy beneath the intertwined vines of shimmering orbs, a sense of camaraderie blossomed between them. Max discovered that Zelda possessed knowledge of Zoran lore and a network of allies hidden beyond the palace's ostentatious walls. Each name she uttered bore a marked weight, some friends, some foes, to be approached with caution. Days turned into weeks as Max and Zelda navigated the complexities of royal life on Zor 9. With each passing moment in the opulent palace, they found themselves intertwined in the rich tapestry of regal responsibilities and cultural rituals. Yet, despite the blossoming bond forming between them, dark clouds loomed overhead. Whispers danced through the grand halls like phantoms in the night, and rumors twisted in the court like serpents, poisoning the already fragile atmosphere. Noble families, with regalia that sparkled but bore their own hidden daggers, shunned the union of the unattractive and unworthy. "Lord Vex is behind this," Zelda concluded during one of their clandestine strategy meetings held in the dim light of the palace library, surrounded by towering shelves laden with ancient tomes documenting the history of their world. The scent of aged parchment filled the air, mingling with the faint aroma of sweet tea they had brewed together. Max sat across from her, the flickering light from the holographic projector casting their shadows on the curved walls. The brilliant colors of the holograms depicted not only the great exploits of past rulers but also the treachery that plagued the royal lineage, an echo of history that seemed all too relevant. "He believes our union will weaken his grip on power," Zelda continued, her voice steady yet filled with an undercurrent of concern. Max felt his heart thunder. The stakes were higher than he had ever anticipated. Their fates were entangled with the legacy of Zor 9, a gravity that made his mind reel. "Then we fight back," he declared, emboldened by a fierce fire igniting within them both. He had emerged as a partner in their relationship, but he never expected to step into the arena of politics and warfare. Together, they devised a plan that combined their strengths, her wisdom and psychic abilities with his courage and charm. It was a weapon that could protect them. Their late-night discussions turned into planning sessions that often stretched until dawn, where strategies blended seamlessly with shared stories of their lives before this strange convergence of destinies. They spoke of their fears and insecurities, their hopes for the future, their laughter echoing softly through the library that had become their sanctuary. Who would have thought we'd end up in this situation? Max mused one night as they strolled through the halls, the glow of starlight illuminating their path. A fairy tale, but with darker twists, Zelda replied, a playful glimmer in her eyes. The jest illuminated her spirit, providing a momentary escape from the looming shadows of a brewing storm. As the days turned into a tiresome cycle of vigilance, Max picked up on Zoran Quartz's oppressive atmosphere. A heavy air of distrust suffocating the vibrant essence of the culture he had found so captivating upon his arrival. Yet beneath this facade, a myriad of complex and colorful individuals swirled about. There was Phalina, a court historian whose encyclopedic knowledge of Zor-9's history belied her youthful appearance, with her vibrant cobalt blue skin and bioluminescent markings that flickered when she spoke with passion. She lamented about the old traditions being undermined by scandalous intrigue but was drawn to assist Max and Zelda, perhaps believing a true alliance could restore honor to a fractured realm. But in stark contrast, Lord Vex's presence loomed like a dark cloud. His image was starkly etched in the minds of everyone in the palace. Tall and imposing, with an air of calculated arrogance, Vex adorned himself in dark, richly embroidered robes that spoke of wealth and influence. His piercing green eyes held a piercing intelligence, often calculating and cold, giving nothing away as they alluded to his ruthless ambition. He dominated conversations, his voice rich and commanding, a puzzling blend of charisma and menace that sent shivers down the spines of those around him. The tensions reached a boiling point when news arrived of Vex's alliance with powerful factions who had long harbored a disdain for the Zoran monarchy, a coalition that threatened to tear apart the fragile union Zelda and Max were desperately trying to build. It was a bitter truth, the revelation that their marriage not only had the potential to unite but also to unleash a maelstrom of chaos. Meeting with their trusted allies, Max found solace in Beatrin, a rugged warrior adorned with battle scars that told tales of his loyalty. With wild, tangled hair and fierce amber eyes, Beatrin had served the Zoran household for decades and bore an unwavering loyalty to the realm. He listened attentively to their concerns. Lord Vex sees at least one wedding as a weakness. He fears your bond, for it challenges the old order. Beatrin's voice was low, reverberating in the chamber like distant thunder. But a wedding, a true bond formed out of love, can also be a source of immense strength. Zelda's eyes sparkled with determination. Then we must show them. Prove it to them. Her resolve shone brightly against the flickering backdrop of tension. If we can gather enough support from the noble houses here, we might just turn the tide. We will confront Vex, unmask his schemes for all to see. As they concocted their strategy, Max was swept up in a whirlwind of emotion. With each revelation and promise uttered in those secret meetings, he realized the profound impact their union would have on Zor-9. But the ethical dilemmas of their situation gnawed at him. The weight of leadership was overwhelming. The responsibility of his choices not only bore on his shoulders but also on the fates of people whom he had just come to know. Should he prioritize love over power? Was there a way to unify their worlds without losing his identity or Zelda's legacy? All their planning came to fruition during the Grand Assembly, the sacred time of the year when the nobility gathered to witness the rituals aligning the stars and planets. A celestial event that demanded the attention of every powerful figure in the realm. The Grand Hall, adorned with shimmering fabrics that flickered with an otherworldly luminescence, buzzed with palpable energy as their plan took shape. Max and Zelda stood together at the forefront, stealing glances at one another amid the chaos, each knowing the deep stakes of the confrontation that awaited them. A soft hum filled the air, a precursor to the moment when they were to reveal Vex's treachery. Their combined strength would be necessary. Max inhaled sharply, feeling the familiar warmth press against his side, a grounded presence that reminded him of the spark they had ignited against the odds. With fury and steely resolve, they stepped forward, their hearts pounding, a rhythmic echo of the impending clash. "Your reign of lies ends here," Max proclaimed, his voice steady despite the dread bubbling beneath the surface. Zelda's presence radiated courage, her earlier fears replaced with the passion that had ignited their resolve. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a palpable tension that hummed through the grand hall of Zor 9's sprawling palace. Ornately decorated with luminous crystals reflecting every flicker of light, the hall felt simultaneously regal and claustrophobic. Max Stellar stood side by side with Princess Zelda, their hands nearly locked in a vise-like grip, a symbol of both unity and determination amid rising chaos. It had all come to this. The stalwart figure of Lord Vex stood before them, flanked by his cronies, whose smirks betrayed their anticipation of an impending showdown. The gathered crowd, a mixture of Zoran nobles and curious onlookers from distant systems, buzzed with hushed whispers, their eyes darting between the two factions. Max could feel the eyes of the galaxy upon them. This was their moment. "Your reign of lies ends here," Max proclaimed, his voice echoing off the polished walls, resonating with a force that gave him new strength. He side-eyed Zelda, whose sapphire blue gown shimmered like the cosmos. Her presence acted like a beacon, filled with assurance, and he drew courage from her unwavering resolve, a silent reminder that they were in this together. As the words hung in the air, Lord Vex narrowed his eyes, the sharp features framed by a mane of silver hair reflecting the palace's elegant luminescence. "Foolish boy," he hissed, his voice low and menacing. "You think you can thwart the very fabric of our society? This alliance was written in the stars long before you were even born." But Max would not relent. He took a step forward, sensing Zelda shift beside him. "We won't be pawns in your game any longer," he shot back, the conviction burning in his belly. "We're here to fight for our people, and we will dismantle the machinery that has oppressed them." Amid the outrageously embroidered banners adorning the hall, Zelda leaned closer to Max, the familiar scent of her floral perfume mixing with the tension-laden air. Her eyes, once filled with uncertainty, had transformed into pools of determination. "Remember the stories of the astral nights," she whispered, her breath sending shivers down his spine. They didn't back down either. Suddenly, the crowd reacted, murmuring in shocked disbelief. For a brief moment, it seemed the air was sucked from the hall. Lord Vex, seething with indignation, raised a gnarled finger, gesturing at the duo. "Your impudence will cost you dearly. Do you think you can unite the planets with sweet words and empty dreams? There's a centuries-old reckoning owing to those who dare defy the anointed." In that instant, Max's composure shifted to a focused intensity. This was no longer just about defending their union, it was about catalyzing a movement. With a swift motion, he reached into his satchel, revealing a holographic projector. The device flickered to life, casting swirling images of past alliances and treaties, proof of the struggles that had carved the foundation of Zor 9's society. "Let me show you the truth," he cried, igniting the fearlessness that had bubbled beneath his skin. The projections danced ahead, illuminating the dark recesses of the hall with vivid accounts of betrayal disguised as loyalty, the oppression of the weak at the altar of ambition. Gasps reverberated as many recognized their own histories reflected in the animated scenes, empowering the moment. Zelda, emboldened by Max's spirit, activated her latent psychic abilities. With a graceful wave of her hand, the images surged with luminescence, knitting together the stories with threads of hope and resilience. "Every dark tale has a hero," she declared, her voice rising above the crowd's muted dissent. "And every stream of oppression can be turned to rivers of justice." But Vex wasn't finished. "You think you will sway them with your childish fantasies?" he barked, venom dripping from each word. His expression twisted, revealing a man who thrived in the shadows, knowing full well his reign relied on fear and manipulation. "You will regret this foolish step forward." As the tension escalated and the atmosphere thickened, an energy began to coil around them. Without warning, Vex lunged, sending shockwaves of energy surging through the hall. His hand glowed ominously. He intended to unleash a wave of destructive force aimed at the couple. Zelda reacted in a flash. "Max, now," she shouted, her voice reverberating like a battle cry. Instinct took control as she raised her arm, summoning a radiant shield that shimmered with otherworldly brilliance. The barrier expanded around them, pulsating with warmth, refracting the incoming darkness into a cascade of glittering light. The crowd stood frozen, caught between the chaos of their fear and the awe of something greater unfolding before them. Max felt the fabric of the hall vibrate as Vex crashed against the shimmering shield, a primal snarl erupting from his lips. "You think your pathetic shield can protect you?" His anger intensified, ricocheting off the walls like a thunderstorm. "Together, Zelda!" Max yelled, extricating the fear gripping his heart and focusing it into resolution. Both of their energies seemed to merge within the pulsing shield, each heartbeat echoing like war drums, resonating with the power of hope and love in their desperate stand against tyranny. As if recognizing their strength, the shield, an amalgamation of their bond, expanded outward. It rippled with an ethereal force, throwing Vex back with a blinding light that flared through the hall in waves. As the echoes of his defeat faded, murmurs rose among the crowd. A mixture of disbelief and exhilaration rippled through them like waves in the ocean. The air shifted, the oppressive weight of uncertainty lightening slightly in the wake of their burgeoning alliance. Max and Zelda stood tall, adrenaline entwined with relief, their hands still clasped tightly together. Around them, faces transformed, fear melting into resolve as others began to find their courage through this shared moment. But suddenly, the ground tremored. An unseen disturbance, perhaps a response to the cosmic outcry against tyranny, reverberated through the palace. Cracks spider-webbed along the ornate walls as the lights flickered alarmingly. Max exchanged a worried glance with Zelda, a fleeting fragment of uncertainty in a moment that had otherwise felt victorious. Then the alarms blared, echoing the tension that still lingered. A shiver ran through the room, carving a path where once there had been certainty in their triumph over Vex. Max instinctively reached for his communication device, but before he could activate it, the doors to the hall burst open, and a team of elite security forces, their uniforms adorned with the insignia of the sovereign but their allegiance now unclear, flooded into the chamber. The sun dipped low on the horizon of Zor 9, casting ethereal beams of iridescent colors over the sprawling gardens of the palace. Max Stellar and Princess Zelda walked hand in hand, the gentle breeze brushing against their skin, whispering the remnants of battles fought and victories claimed. Flowers of vibrant hues swayed under the twilight, their petals reflecting the cosmic energy that enveloped the planet. "Look at this place," Max mused, taking in the sight of lilac-hued blossoms and silver foliage that danced in the soft light. "It's hard to believe how much has changed since we first arrived." Zelda nodded, her expression a blend of nostalgia and optimism. The gardens symbolize our progress, don't you think? What was once a desolate battleground for power is now a sanctuary for peace. She paused, her voice growing solemn. It reminds me of how close we came to losing everything. A warm silence lingered between them, filled with memories of their struggles and triumphs. Max squeezed her hand tighter. It was your strength that turned the tide, Zelda. You stood up to Lord Vex, and you emerged from that confrontation unscathed, even thriving. Your courage has changed the perception of our alliance. She smiled, her eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief. And it was your unwavering belief that kept me grounded. You showed me that vulnerability can be a source of strength. Zelda stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Sometimes, in the darkest moments, hope shines brightest. Max's heart swelled with pride. He couldn't help but wonder how someone so radiant could emerge from such tumultuous circumstances. What do you think the future holds for us? He asked, as they ventured deeper into the garden. For the Alliance? Stronger than ever, I hope. We've laid a foundation of trust, and while challenges will persist, we're undeniably stronger together. Zelda reached out, stroking the petals of a nearby flower as if drawing energy from its existence. As long as we remain honest with one another and remember our purpose, we can face whatever comes. Max contemplated her words, his thoughts swirling with visions of the future. Our story needs to be told. The universe must know of the love that conquered avarice, the bond that transcended worlds. It will inspire others. Then let's ensure we document our journey, Zelda responded, her enthusiasm reigniting their shared passion for storytelling. Your book will capture our truth, the essence of our union. But let's not be mere spectators of history. Let us be the architects of a future defined by inclusivity and kindness. Amidst delicate whispers of the night, they settled onto a bench in the garden's heart, a sanctuary enveloped by bioluminescent trees whose branches reached out like welcoming arms. The air hummed with energy, fireflies, each one a tiny beacon of light, danced around them, igniting a glow that felt almost magical. Max pulled a small device from his pocket and activated it, illuminating the space between them with a holographic projection. Images from their past adventures swirled around, recounting the pivotal moments that led to their alliance, a living timeline of their struggles and shared resilience. Remember this? He asked, as an image of their first encounter with the Zoran Council flickered to life. You were so composed while I was a bundle of nerves. Zelda chuckled, the sound melodic amidst the ambient sounds of the night. And yet, you managed to prove yourself in ways I never imagined. I'm proud of how far we've come. Max focused on a particular image, one that captured the moment Zelda defended their union against Lord Vex. Her face, illuminated with determination, expressed the essence of their newfound strength. The bravery written in her features stirred something deep within him. Zelda, your courage turned the tide, yes, but it also reminds me that this journey is also about those we represent now. The bonds we form here ripple throughout the cosmos. Yes, Zelda exclaimed, her expression shifting from a soft recollection to fervent enthusiasm. We must forge alliances with other worlds, cultivate bridges of understanding that can heal divides. If we can inspire even one other team to unite for a common cause, we will have done something monumental. Their discussions wandered through the possibilities, ideas sparking with vitality in the air around them. Conversations spun around potential alliances, shared technology, and the overflowing abundance of knowledge crossing planetary borders. The vastness of the universe lay before them, full of opportunities yet unexplored. As the night deepened, the star-laden skies shimmered overhead, a breathtaking backdrop that echoed the enormity of their mission. They eventually retired to the palace chambers, cozy and adorned with tapestries that told stories of Zor 9's history. Max fell asleep with a sense of hope flooding his dreams, visions of intergalactic gatherings and thriving worlds filling his mind. However, amidst that tranquility, a murmur ran through his subconscious, a subtle reminder of the darkness that had once threatened to engulf them. In this universe, shadows lingered, waiting for the slightest opportunity to reclaim their grasp. The following days cascaded with excitement as news of their triumph spread. Delegates from neighboring worlds began to arrive, eager to participate in new agreements. Max and Zelda embraced their roles as ambassadors of peace, welcoming discussions that emanated promises of collaboration and growth. One evening, as they prepared for a grand banquet, a tense atmosphere quivered in the air. Max caught Zelda's apprehensive glance as she adjusted her attire, an intricate garment that mirrored the night sky. "What's troubling you?" Max inquired gently, sensing a shift in her demeanor. "It's strange," Zelda began, "with all this progress, I can't shake a lingering fear. A premonition that the peace we've fought for could still be threatened." Max's heart sank. "Do you think Vex might try to retaliate? Even after the damage he suffered? Perhaps. Or it could be something entirely unforeseen. Loneliness can breed desperation." Zelda gazed out the lavish window, lost in thought. "As we tread this new path, we must remain vigilant. In a galaxy with diverse factions, the balance of power can shift at a moment's notice." Suddenly, a shimmering holographic pulse filled the room, snapping Max from his reverie. An urgent message appeared, its interference crackling like static. A familiar silhouette emerged from the comms. A figure cloaked in shadows but unmistakably defined. It was Thaler, the delegate who had first introduced Max to Zelda. "Max, Zelda," his voice emanated a simmering urgency. "We must speak immediately. A new threat has surfaced, one that could endanger everything we've worked for." The weight of Thaler's words hung in the air like the impending storm of a distant star. Max and Zelda exchanged resolute glances, a silent agreement forged between them. "We'll be there," Zelda replied firmly, determination triumphing over fear. As they rushed to gather their thoughts, the universe lurked silently outside, whispering secrets of an unseen future. In this moment, their journey stood at a crossroads. A new chapter awaited, and the echoes of their legacy would carry forward, boundless and profound. Whatever challenge lay ahead, they would face it together, anchored by an unyielding love that would carry them through the stars. Even in the depths of uncertainty, one thing was clear. This was only the beginning, a harbinger of adventures yet to unfold, each adventure a story waiting to be told. In the backdrop of a galaxy spinning enigmatically in shadows and light, Max and Zelda experienced the thrill of the unknown, aware that within the uncharted darkness, hope shone the brightest. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.